Hi, I'm Dan Turk. My wife Elizabeth and I are PCUSA mission co-workers. It has been our privilege to serve in Madagascar with the FJKM Church since 1997. I started out with the FJKM Development Department and now work with the FJKM's Fruits, Vegetables, and Environmental Education Program, or FVEE for short. I'd like to start by introducing some of my colleagues.
Hi, I am Roland Razaperson.
Hi, I am Lubarina.
Hi, I am Germain Renefson. Thank you very much.
In terms of structure, the FVEE is under the leadership of the FJKM Secretary General, Pastor Jonara Dimison. The FVEE teaches a practical course on growing fruits and vegetables for seminary students at 4 of the 5 FJKM seminaries and also teaches about environmental issues. Roland Razafiarson is the main teacher. To promote environmental awareness, the FVEE also plants endangered native trees like this tahina palm at FJKM schools and churches. Most of the work of the FVEE is focused on fruits. This presentation will explain why the FJKM sees fruit trees as important, what the FJKM is doing with fruit trees, and how this program is helping people get on a path out of poverty. To start, it is important to understand some of the difficult challenges that Madagascar faces. Most of Madagascar's plants and animals are found naturally only in Madagascar. For most species, this means that if they go extinct in Madagascar, they will be gone from the earth. Madagascar has a very rapidly growing population. The population has gone up 5-fold in my lifetime and more than doubled since I first went to Madagascar in 1992. Most people in Madagascar are farmers. Although rice is the main crop, Madagascar imports hundreds of thousands of tons of rice each year so that people can have enough food to eat. Even so, almost half the children are chronically malnourished. About 3/4 of the people live below the poverty line of $1.90 per day. Poverty and malnutrition are getting worse during the COVID pandemic. Madagascar's remaining natural forest is being rapidly cut down to grow crops and to get firewood and other forest products. As a direct consequence, Madagascar faces the prospect of massive extinctions in coming years. The COVID pandemic is accelerating deforestation. Thus, the country faces two often conflicting challenges: to improve the future for Madagascar's children while at the same time protecting its unique wildlife from extinction. The FJKM Church recognizes that it has an important role to play to help people improve their lives here on Earth and to help preserve Madagascar's natural heritage. Here is what the FJKM President, Pastor Irako Andre Mahasuami, had to say about the importance of growing fruit trees in March 2020.
Zava-dehibe amin'ny fitoriana filazantsara zany satria ny FJKM dia resy lahatra fa ny filazantsara izay toriana dia tsy tenin'Andriamanitra mitondra ny olona ho any an-danitra fotsiny fa mampiaina azy koa ny fahasaran'Andriamanitra dia eto an-tany. Miasa amin'ny fikarakarana ny hazo fihinam-boa izay ataon'ny FJKM ankehitriny dia fiarah-miasana amin'Andriamanitra ho fitahiana amin'ny Madagasikara. Ny ezaka amin'ny anao ny hazo fihinam-boa ny FJKM ny antony dia satria eo ny lafiny anankiray ny amin'ny hoe horakofantsika ala Madagasikara eo amin'ny nivon'ilay fiarovana ny tontolo iainana fa indrindra anisan'ny zavatra tena mamely mafy eto Madagasikara ny tsy fahanjarian-tsakafo ka raha mamboly hazo fihinam-boa isika dia tena vahaolana mahomby amin'ny ady amin'ny tsy fahanjarian-tsakafo eto Madagasikara izany satria mahavanona zavatra betsaka Madagasikara ary fitahian'Andriamanitra zany.
People sell fruits in markets and along roadsides all over Madagascar. Growing fruits is a way for people to improve their diet, make money, and get firewood without destroying native forests. In terms of climate, Madagascar is well suited for a variety of fruits that correspond roughly to the different types of natural vegetation in different parts of the country. In the east, where rainfall is abundant almost year-round, fruit trees like breadfruit do well, and also others like mangosteen and rambutan. Central Madagascar has enough cold to grow low-chill varieties of temperate fruits like apples, pears, plums, peaches, and nectarines. Most of western, northern, and southern Madagascar has ideal climate for growing mangoes, hot weather with a long dry season. The far south and southwest is so dry that the only fruits that do well are prickly pear cactus of various species that were introduced to Madagascar from America. In times of drought, sometimes cactus fruits are the only food people in the far south eat for months on end. If it weren't for cactus fruits, many more people would starve. The far south of Madagascar is currently experiencing drought. Thousands of children are acutely malnourished. It is often possible for people to grow a few trees around their homes. The trees benefit from the compost and water that get thrown out from the houses and from the protection provided by proximity to their owners. More focus and investment is required to grow fruit trees on a commercial scale. Even small orchards with 10 or more trees require special effort to provide water and fertilizer. My first involvement with growing tangerines began in 1998 when Roland Razaferson and I went to see the town of Bambiati in midwestern Madagascar south of Sirmandidi near Belubaka. It seems completely out of place that somewhere in a landscape such as this, there could be a place with highly productive orchards that can fill trucks with tangerines. But that is the reality. The productivity of Bambiati's orchards is truly amazing. And this is reflected in the lives of all the people of that town. They have gotten out of poverty by growing tangerines. Each time we went there, Roland and I talked to the people, asking lots of questions. People like Madame Voangi explained that the keys are water for irrigation, fertilizer, and technical know-how. So my colleagues and I looked for a place to grow tangerines. This is the place eventually found, Antaneti Bay near Ankaju Bay. At first, it does not look like a good place for growing fruits. The grasses around the town burn every year, and not much is being grown on the hillsides. But Antaneti Bay has the key component often lacking, water available for irrigation. So the next time we did a fruit tree training in 2010, we invited 2 people from Antaneti Bay to go to Bambiati as part of the training. Cyril Rakutwarimanana in the yellow shirt and Jose Randrianiaina on the lower right were those 2 trainees. They recognized that Antaneti Bay has all it needs to grow tangerines like at Bambiati. The climate is the same, the soil is the same, cow manure is available for fertilizer, and water is available for irrigation. My colleagues encouraged Cyril and Jose to find 15 people to get trained at Antaneti Bay. Initially, only 12 people showed up, but more and more people who wanted to grow tangerines came forward as time went by. In the end, over 70 families planted tangerine trees. And they dug small canals to get irrigation water to the trees. Here is Justin Randrianarisu with one of his trees. And here is Justin again in 2017 when his tangerine trees were starting to produce fruits. At first, the people of Antaneti Bay took their tangerines by taxi Bruce to sell in Ankaju Bay. Now, 10 years after they first planted tangerine trees, the people of Antaneti Bay are sending fruits by the truckload to the capital city. Thanks to tangerines, they are on a path out of poverty. My colleagues and I recognized early on that the potential for growing tangerines is restricted to the relatively few areas that have access to abundant irrigation water. We asked, is there a fruit that has the potential to help more people get on a path out of poverty? We realized that the mango is that fruit. The mango, which was introduced to Madagascar hundreds of years ago, produces good crops where there is a long dry season and soils of low fertility. It produces well in western, northern, and much of southern Madagascar. It can be highly productive and produces fruits in the first part of the hardship part of the year. There is much potential for improving mango production. There are two keys to unlocking the potential of mangoes in Madagascar. First, growing selected, highly productive varieties that are currently not widely grown. And two, propagating these varieties by grafting. At the present time, very few people know how to graft mangoes in Madagascar. My colleagues and I began collecting mango varieties already in Madagascar and brought in many of the world's best mango varieties from Florida. We had to get an import permit from Madagascar and a phytosanitary certificate from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Upon arrival in Madagascar, the trees spent months in official quarantine at Nanisana. Already, some of these varieties are showing promise. This is Tommy Atkins, the most widely grown commercial mango variety in the Americas, growing at Ivatu. Other fruit trees that we brought to Madagascar are also showing promise, such as the canistel, which is native to Central America. These are canistel fruits being enjoyed by seminary students at the Ivatu Seminary. The mame sapote is showing promise in eastern Madagascar. It is a very popular fruit in Cuba. This sunracer nectarine is producing well in Mr. Abel's orchard in Ramafana. The jaboticaba from Brazil had limited distribution in Madagascar until the FJKM began to propagate it and to encourage people to plant it. The tree on the left with Madame Mami is in Ambustra. Grafting has the potential to revolutionize mango growing in Madagascar. There are three main reasons for grafting. One, the fruits one gets from a grafted tree will be genetically the same as fruits from the mother tree. Two, grafted trees in general produce fruits after just a few years, sooner than trees grown from seeds. And three, grafted trees are in general of lower stature than seedling trees, making it easier to harvest the fruits. This is especially important for mangoes because mango trees that are not grafted can be huge. Germain-André Naivusson, who has successfully grafted more kinds of fruit trees than anyone else in Madagascar, has taught hundreds of people how to graft. Grafting requires a combination of know-how and practice. These are seminary students at Ivatu learning to graft. This is an approach graft, one of three kinds of grafts we do with mangoes. Because Madagascar's capital city is too high in altitude for growing mangoes well, my colleagues and I looked for a place west of Antananarivo to set up a fruit center focused on mangoes. This is what the future fruit center at Mahatsinjo looked like in 2016 before we started developing the site. Pastors Nyaina and Harifidi, former FVE students at Ivatu Seminary, were instrumental in finding the site and getting the fruit center established. On the 7th of October 2016, the FJKM placed a commemorative stone called Ivatu Feidzuru at the site to mark the church's commitment to create the fruit center. On that day, FJKM President Ami preached and presided over the commitment ceremony. We began constructing the first building in November 2016 and planted the first mango trees in January 2017. At the same time, we started the first nursery under the leadership of Odilon Ravelunzanahari, who moved to Mahatsinjo with his family. The first building was completed in May 2017. We then turned our attention to developing a water system, which is providing drinking water and water for irrigation. This is what the fruit center looked like in early 2018. By then, over 250 fruit trees had been planted belonging to 50 species and 150 varieties, including 22 varieties of mango. The FVEE now has over 90 varieties of mangoes, of which over 50 are planted in the ground at the fruit center. In late 2018 and early 2019, my colleagues and I took scions from mango trees in Antananarivo, and every time we went to the fruit center, the first thing we did was have a grafting party. Our grafting efforts were successful. Hundreds of grafted mango trees were produced. After less than 2 years in the ground, the mango trees at the Fruit Center began to produce fruits. In May 2019, the rector of the new FJKM University, Pastor Zu Ratsimandisa on the left, visited the Fruit Center. And the center began providing internships for university students. Just a couple of weeks ago, 25 second-year agronomy students spent 10 days at the Fruit Center, while another 25 first-year agronomy students spent a week at the Ivatu Seminary. This was the second time that the Fruit Center has received students from the FJKM University. The students don't just learn about fruits, they also learn how to grow rice and spend time with farmers in their fields at nearby villages. The Fruit Center's first master's student, Rindra Ranaivu Arson, on the lower left, did research on mango grafting techniques and has successfully completed her studies. In November 2019, with a grant from the Presbyterian Hunger Program, the center began training low-income farmers in how to graft and grow mangoes and other fruit trees. Each of the over 100 trainees received grafted mango trees, a grafting knife, a sharpening stone, and pots so that they can apply their skills at home so as to produce and plant as many grafted trees as they would like. Many of the trainees have already set up their own fruit tree nurseries. This is Romain Rantianarimanana with an avocado tree that he grafted at his nursery. The FEE has received a second $5,000 grant from the Presbyterian Hunger Program to expand trainings to farmers from other parts of Madagascar in 2021. In 2020, a new building was completed at the Fruit Center, which serves as a dormitory, further enhancing the Fruit Center's capacity to receive university students and to host trainings for low-income farmers. This is how the Fruit Center looked on the 20th of March 2020, the day it was officially inaugurated. President Ami presided at the inauguration and preached at the worship service.
Namboarina ireto hanatrarana ny tanjona mba hisehoany voninahitran'Andriamanitra amin'ny lalana zao ezaka azo finamboa izao. Dia ho an'Andriamanitra ireny ny voninahitra. Amen. Mba azo miteka mafy tsara nareo.
Pastor Ami and the FJKM Clerical Vice President, Pastor Zarazaka Jean-Louis, planted a kit mango tree. On that day, the Fruit Center was renamed Lapa Nimanga, the Mango Palace. This new name should help put the Fruit Center on the map. The Fruits, Vegetables, and Environmental Education Program is currently in the process of setting up new mango nurseries at Mandritsara in northern Madagascar and at Ankaramena in south-central Madagascar. It is also setting up a new fruit nursery at the FJKM's new agricultural high school at Fionana. Earlier this month, Roland Rezafiarson delivered mango mother trees to Mandritsara along with the nursery worker who got trained for an extra long time at Ivatu because of COVID-19. The nursery at Mandritsara will be managed by the FJKM seminary there. The FJKM church at Ankaramena is an ideal site for a tree nursery because it is right on National Road number 7. It will supply grafted mango trees for southern Madagascar. The nursery will be an income-generating activity for the Ankaramena Church. Last month, the FEE started extension work at Ankaramena by training church members and distributing selected mango varieties. There will be further training there in 2021. The new agricultural high school at Fionana will be inaugurated later this month. The FEE is installing the fruit tree nursery and orchard and will help teach the students. This is the layout for the new nursery and orchard. Conclusions. By growing small orchards rather than just a few backyard fruit trees, people can improve their food security, obtain some of their firewood, and get on a path out of poverty. The FJKM is playing important roles in helping this to happen by providing good varieties of fruit trees and by helping people learn the key techniques needed to graft and grow these trees. There are also important roles for the FJKM University through research and educating students. There's a lot of work still to be done, especially to establish new tree nurseries, to train large numbers of people all across the country, to continue to train seminary and university students, and to develop new leadership for the FJKM fruit program. There is a need to go in new directions, to develop new fruit crops suitable for different parts of the country, to promote value-added products like dried fruit, fruit juice, and fruit for export, and also new irrigation methods like drip irrigation. In Madagascar, growing fruits can help people get on a path out of poverty. Through its fruit program, the FJKM will continue to play important roles for the future of Madagascar's children and unique plants and animals in years to come. Thank you very much for being part of this journey with the FJKM. To God be the glory.